Hello and welcome to our live, our once a month Argo live that we've been doing now for over a year now. I am Captain Dave Rose, standing in an undisclosed location on the St. Johns River in Florida on my boat Stink Pot. And I am joined here by Argo founder, Captain Jeff himself. Say hi to the nice people, Jeff.
Hey, everybody.
We have also with us, of course, our regular contributor, Nick Gaffney from Spot On, and now Argo as well. How are you doing, Nick?
Hey, how's it going? Good.
It's a beautiful day. And we have a special guest with us tonight, Robert Ewens, who he is, he's famous. He's a really famous guy for doing the Great Loop in 19 days, was it, Robert?
Yeah, 19 days, 13 hours in a
John boat.
In a 16-foot John boat with a little tiller steer on it.
Dang.
It was a lot of fun. I had a great time with it.
Unreal.
That is amazing.
So we are here. We're here to take your questions, talk about Argo, what's new, and all that sort of stuff. And I think now is probably as good a time as any to just sort of dive in and get down to the big news, which I think, and Captain Jeff, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Argo 3.0.
Argo 3.0. Yes, I know we talked about it for 3 or 4 shows leading up to it, but we did release it last month. Pretty exciting. It was a lot of work. And what's more exciting is what's going to come next. But for those of you that had a chance to check it out, it's a new base map. It's a lot cleaner look. I've had some people telling me just around the marinas and things like that, much more detail in terms of the piers and things. It scrolls faster. It uses less battery life, less CPU. And I think I've said this in the past, it's going to allow us to bring in new things like a wind overlay, current overlay, water surface temperatures, weather radar, rain, lightning strikes, things like that. And so we're super excited about that. It did get released with, unfortunately, a few bugs, which is known to happen when you release something that big. But we were on top of it. Within the first week, we got most of the bugs that we found fixed. I think it's running pretty well at this point. But if you've had a chance to check it out, give us some feedback, see what you think, and certainly if there's any issues, we'd love to hear so we can get them fixed. But like I said, it didn't come out with a lot of new features other than it's a new look, particularly when you put it in 3D mode. It's a much cleaner 3D view as well. But what we've been able to do within the last week or two is bring on a wind overlay. And we thought while we had you here live, we'd give you a quick sneak peek of that because it's going to be released in the next week. We think next week, probably later in the week, we'll have a release that includes the wind overlay, something that Nick worked on a good bit, and we're excited to show you. So I don't know, Dave, if you can pull it up.
Let me get that going. Here it comes.
Now, it was a quick video I took this morning up here in the upper part of the Chesapeake Bay. You can see the higher wind that was displayed there, and then I was going to take it down to Tampa. And we've got a different color, blue, a little bit lower speed wind, but and you kind of got to let it sit for a bit to come in. But you've got the wind streams there, the direction, which you can display over top of your routing. We had a bit of a storm coming in this morning. I don't know if those of you are up in the Maryland area, it was 81 degrees on Wednesday, and then we had snow today. So you can see some of the high winds that were coming across the bay earlier today.
Yeah, I think that, just speaking to 3.0 for a quick second is it screams performance. And the thing that's really exciting about it is that it just unlocks the ability for so many new features for you. And we do have a lot in the bag, but one of the first ones coming out, like Jeff said, is the wind, and you saw that color ramp that takes place, so you can see the intensity of the wind. So you really get a great understanding of what's going on around you, what you're looking forward to. So we're excited for that to roll out. It is just V1 in the wind aspect, but there's so much more coming behind it. So we're really excited for this year.
We
So that's-
already have a couple of questions coming in here. Glenn is asking us if 3.0 is available for Android yet. He hasn't seen it in his updates. It is. If it hasn't automatically downloaded for you already, you should try to go to the Play Store and get it, because it's there for you, Glenn. And somebody else has come in and said, I'm getting these out of order. There we go. So far, so good. And ahoy to that other person. So far, so good. Nice improvements. So the questions are coming, the comments are coming, and people are liking 3.0, gentlemen. This is good stuff.
It was funny. The developers, the lead developers, talking to me the other day about the web app. For those of you that are using our web app to plan trips and things like that, it still is using Google Maps as the base map. And he was debating whether it was necessarily really to update that. But just yesterday, we had someone reach out to me and say, why is the detail not quite as good on the web app as it is on the mobile app? I really love what you've done with the mobile app. So good news is we're going to update the web app to have the same look and feel with the greater detail around the marinas. So it's going to be coming as well.
That's good news. That's good news.
Go
ahead.
I was going to say we had a couple other minor features I'll just mention. For those of you that have tried to connect up Argo to your NEMA network and have looked at our drop down and haven't seen a yacht device, we finally updated that and add that to the list. So make it a little bit easier on you when you want to try to integrate NEMA using your yacht device. The other thing we did, which I think is going to be really fun this boating season, this summer, our boater icons are much more reliable in terms of being able to see them on the map. So you'll be able to see all your friends, your fellow yacht club members or group members. There's been times in the past where I know we've had people say, hey, I know my buddy's out on the water, but I can't see him in Argo. And I think that's going to be a lot easier, a lot more reliable this year. So in terms of an app that you can see each other when you're out on the water, it's going to be there for you.
Fantastic. Anything else new? Oh, I know what else is new in 3.0. All the new views we have. We have the grayscale view, the improved satellite. What else is in there? This is one more I'm forgetting. 3D, the upgraded 3D. I would you speak to that for a moment, Jeff? I think people would be
what we
interested
did
to know
add,
this.
and which was new, was a monochrome view. So it basically takes the land features and really dulls them out, so you're focused on the water. We've got a standard view as well as a satellite view, but they now have a monochrome view, and I've already heard from a few people that really like that. So that is.
And
the
tip to that is that monochrome view gives you excellent contrast during the day, but you can actually change your day and night mode. So whether you want ultra high contrast or a nice dark map, that is an option in there too. Can't believe we almost didn't mention that. It's awesome.
We buried the lead on that. It's a beautiful thing. I've been using it a lot myself. Hey, Nick, Mr. Spot On himself. What's new in Spot Onsville?
Well, Spot On is growing every day, so that's very exciting. We've made some new improvements to some fishing grounds within the Chesapeake. So now when you go into your fishing spots, there are some built-in grounds that you'll notice in green polygons. One thing that we're working on right now, which is really exciting, is soon you're going to be seeing a fish forecasting system, which is going to talk about upcoming fish activity. You can search by species. And more importantly, it's going to start getting to the point of telling you where to be, when, and how. So a lot more to come with that. But as it stands right now, users in the Chesapeake, we have an awesome Mid-Atlantic structure map. And there's no doubt that it's truly the highest resolution structure map in the Mid-Atlantic. But pairing it up with this ability to see those fishing grounds outlined is it's awesome and definitely worthwhile for the summertime.
So
And I want to add on your behalf, because we probably should have mentioned this up front for those that have just dropped in and gone, Spot On, what the heck are they talking about? Spot On is a fishing app that Argo just bought and brought in under the umbrella. And we couldn't be more excited to be working with Nick and all the incredible things that he did in Spot On are finding their way into Argo, and vice versa. I think Spot On's going to benefit from being aligned with Argo as well. So it's really an exciting time here for all of us.
So it's a separate app, Spot On Fishing. Find it on the App Store or the Play Store. And as Dave said, yeah, we've been integrating a lot of the features from Argo, like the routing, into the Spot On Fishing app. And a lot of what Nick had done in terms of detailed bathymetry and structure and things like that, we're integrating into Argo. So we're truly making both products better. If you're a fisherman, you might want to check it out. It's really a fascinating app. And as Nick said, some of the features he's going to be bringing on in the next year are pretty cool. I mean, he can't help himself. He's been texting me videos and images pretty regularly. So some cool stuff coming.
Yeah, we're having fun behind the scenes, and that's why, being a fishing nerd, we're so lucky that we get to use it ourselves before it gets into the public's hands. But that's just speaks to the excitement and what we put into it. And really later this year, not just for Spot On, but Argo, I'd say it's an excellent two-way road, but it's really more of a highway at this stage because it seems like we're moving so fast. We've made a lot of progress. So
yeah, I'll speak to the forecasting, and I know it's just one data point, but Nick went out a few weeks ago to test it on one of the Florida lakes, and his forecasting indicated that he should be, based on the moon phases and other information, should be out there between, I think it was 2:30 and 3:30. He went out there early, didn't get much activity. 2:45, he caught a 7-pound bass. I said, "Well, Nick, that's one data point, but it was a really good start."
It's one data point, but man, was it strong and so exciting. Yeah, I got my personal best largemouth bass that day. So, it's definitely reinforced the data, but man, that was an exciting time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's all wonderful, but I think there are a lot of people that want to hear now from our special guests. So without any further ado, I want to ask Mr. Robert Ewens, what the heck were you thinking, young man?
Well, as a kid, I loved running around in John boats. And after I graduated from college, I ended up being a factory rep for Glastron. And so I was running around all sorts of boats. I always had demos to play with and stuff. And then I retired and I was thinking of fun things to do. For a while, I canoed the length of the Mississippi River. And it just said, I want to get back to my roots. I need to get a John boat and go find something fun to do. So to me, it's all about getting on the water and meeting the people. And I got cancer about 6 years ago, and it just stage 2. And so I went through chemo and radiation, and boy, will that change your mind. I think they cured me, and I said, I've been given a gift, and I should have recognized this all my life. But you need to be spending every chance you can to go do the things that you really, really enjoy. And what I enjoyed was being on the water. And so I said, now let's cut the throttle loose. Let's cut the governor off this motor and go do things that are just maybe some people think are impossible. So that's what happened, Dave, is I just made the impossible possible, and I was ready to go do some fun things.
That's amazing. I mean, when I saw the scuttlebutt, when it was when you were doing it, when you had just started out, and everyone was finding out about it, that's when I found out about you too.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to Stacy at the time, I said, "Look at this kook. What is he doing? I didn't. Of course, I didn't know your background, or I just figured it was just another one of these people trying to do something impossible and dangerous.
Yeah.
And you are better equipped to do this than probably anybody else I know. Now that I know you, uh,
Um,
it-
it was kind
it's
of
just an
fun.
amazing trip.
I've been yachting and sailing all my life, working on crew boats and stuff. So I ran 65-foot crew boats right out of high school, and I've probably got like 30,000 miles between a Island Packet 35 and a Beneteau 473. And so I have the option to be in bigger boats. I just think that little John boat with a tiller on it, I felt really connected to the water.
Yeah.
And I like, who doesn't like an old guy on a John boat? So I'm always getting invited on people's boats for dinner. And no, it just kind of evolved, and that was something I really like. So let's really push into it hard. So the first big trip I did, I decided I'd set a Guinness World Record. So I went up to Kingmont, West Virginia, and I went from there to Pittsburgh, and then down the Ohio, and then all the way down the Mississippi. Then I crossed the Gulf over to the Atchafalaya. I did that with a 14-foot John boat with a 25. Did not
Wow.
in 12 days. And then that was before I got cancer. After cancer, I said, okay, what's really, really big and really a dream that you would love to come true? I said, Northwest Passage. Who would even consider the Northwest Passage in a John boat going through the Arctic? And I said, that's about as impossible a dream as I could dream up. So I did it. I loaded my John boat up. You had to get permission through the Canadian government to go through the Northwest Passage, and I had to fill out all sorts of paperwork. And they really quizzed me. They wanted to make sure I had the qualifications, especially being in such a silly little boat.
Right.
But it was a great experience. I met lots of people. Any of y'all that were at Miami Boat Show, one of my friends from the Arctic came down, and it was great seeing him. I did that in 2022. But yeah, having the kind of friendships built that a guy had come down from the Arctic to go to the Miami Boat Show, that was a lot of fun. And then I did the Inside Passage, and just had so much fun meeting people. Those weren't races. Those were no agenda, no timeline. Stop for a couple of days if I found a place I was having fun. Very, I follow Stink Pot. I see y'all doing that. You find a place you're
Thank you.
having fun and hang out for a few days.
Right.
Or someone says, "Hey, you ought to go a little bit further up that river. There's some cool things." And that's generally what I've done. People think I'm a racer, and no, I just enjoy being on the water. Going fast is just another way to enjoy the water. And I know a lot of people's feelings were hurt that, oh man, you don't understand. Oh, I do understand. I love doing what y'all do. I love hanging out in the harbor for a few days and meeting the people, but I've got a joy in my life, and I've still got a lot of energy left in this heart to go out and push myself every now and then. So yeah, that trip around the Great Loop in 19 days was just, me feeling my oats, and said, I looked at Red Flower's 19-day, 19-hour record, and dang it, I still have this competitive urge in me, and so I had to get spreadsheets out and start doing things, and that's when I learned. I'm really into apps, and so I'll tell how I found out about Argo. But so I am trying to plot ways to do the Great Loop fast, and looking at going outside or inside, and looking at all the challenges of offshore currents and inshore tidal issues and stuff. So I've spent a lot of time with apps and chart plotters and stuff trying to do this. And so I'm walking through the Seattle Boat Show. I was doing a talk there at the Seattle Boat Show a few weeks back, and I walked by and there's Dave, and he's standing in front of this booth for Argo. And I said, "Tell me what you're up to." I'm a fan, I follow Steve. I'm a nerd. I follow lots of boats. Y'all probably don't even know you're being followed by me, but a lot of the Great Loop boats I follow. And Dave goes, "Man, you ought to see this app I'm playing with. It's a navigation, it's weather, it's all these things in one." And the first thing he did is he showed me this auto routing and how you can check, say, I want to go outside. And I was like, God, this is a game changer. And before I knew it, we were like diving into all the stuff in Argo. And I was thinking how many hours I could have saved, because I'd want to route around the outside, and all the routers, I don't know if I should name names, but they all want to take you to the inside. So you put a couple of points to auto route around and get out, and it just bring you right back around the island. And Dave goes, "Watch this." So he flipped that switch to outside. Boom! It just took me on the outside route. And Dave had me sold on this new Argo thing. And, I hadn't even had a boat. So my boat went to the Miami Boat Show. It's my boat's, heck, I don't even know where my boat is right now. It's been doing the boat show tour. So I've just been playing with it, in the evening. I'll sit there and try to learn all the new stuff about Argo. And I keep learning more and more and more. And a lot of it's not extra work. It's just that there are features I could turn on. Like I was looking at routing off the East Coast, and I was looking at a straight route, and then I saw the current overlay in there, and I thought, man, if I just bend my route a little bit, and I wouldn't have thought to take advantage of that current or to look at that eddy coming off the Gulf Stream. I don't know. I can't talk enough about Argo right now.
You were mentioning
playing.
earlier, I'll interrupt you, Robert, but a question I get an awful lot of times, they'll tell me that, your routing doesn't stay in the channel. And I said, yes, it doesn't stay in the channel. We do have an option. You can stay in the channel if you want.
You do.
But you were talking to that earlier, and how helpful that's been to what you're doing.
Yeah, because I have a really shallow draft boat, so I don't worry about channels. I worry about depth. And there's so many times I want to cut a corner if I could, and Navionics, I'll name a few, but C-Maps and stuff. I use a lot of different stuff over the years, and they would want to take me out to the entry buoy if I was offshore, and I don't really want to go out there because I want to cut in the straight route, and I could just say, don't bother to, follow the navigation channels, keep me safe on my depth. And Argo would just do it automatically. So I wanted to compare inside outsides, and I looked at it. It gave me how many gallons of fuel I burned when I rerouted. So, every time I do another thing, I said, man, here's another thing I wasn't expecting it to give me. I'm sounding like a salesman for Argo. I'm not. I'm just an enthusiastic user at this point.
Yeah.
Well, you're the kind of user we want. And actually, we have a question here. Do you know this person, Jeff? This Matthew?
Yeah, I do recognize him. Yes. That's my son. That's my son.
He's asking, what was the toughest stretch of the Great Loop for you?
It's all fun to me. I think most people would say that day I got up at Cape Canaveral, and I had looked at the weather report that evening, And I wish I'd have had Argo. And when I took off, it has shown me when I woke up that there was something brewing out there. But I jumped off in the Gulf Stream, and I was, probably 40, 50 miles offshore in the Gulf Stream out east of southeast of Jacksonville. And the seas started building. And I was running along in 2-foot seas, and I was making fairly decent time. And all of a sudden it jumped 3-foot, 4-foot, 6-foot, 10-foot seas, and it's coming out of the northeast. So they were steep with that south current of the Gulf Stream. And I was having to make decisions about, safety of my boat and stuff. So I was looking for harbors to, cut into and not lose a lot of headway. I made a decision to head over to Jacksonville, and so it was dark by this time, and I was, I'd come up to the top of a 10-foot wave, and I could kind of look around, and I'd be down at the bottom, and I hear over my radio, I hear this container ship come on, and he's calling the Coast Guard station in Jacksonville, and he says, "Hey guys, I need to just let y'all know that there's this like little fishing boat out here about 35 miles offshore fighting at some 10 to 15s. And I just wanted to make sure y'all were aware of what's going on." And so I think they were figuring I was having a tough time. And but I had made the change, and I was quartering the waves and, sometimes running parallel to them just to stay off the breakers. And I heard the response back from the Jacksonville Coast Guard. They said, "Oh yeah, we're aware of that guy. We've been tracking him, and we know he's in tough conditions. But thank you for letting us go, so letting us know what you're seeing him." So they call the station commander, and the station commander says, "Hey guys, y'all just sit back and watch that guy because he's out there having a good time, and he's gonna be okay." And they said, "What do you mean, Captain?" And they said, "Well, I've been following Robert Ewan since he went through the Arctic, and the man knows what he's up to, and he's prepared to get out of there safely." And I did. I got into Jacksonville, and man, I had some sore muscles, and they're not the
I bet.
muscles you think. It was my cheeks from smiling all night. I was laughing. If you could imagine the scene in Forrest Gump where Lieutenant Dan's on the top of the mast going, "Bring it on." I wasn't yelling, "Bring it on," but I was having a blast surfing those waves, and got in there. And who's at the marina that the captain of the local Coast Guard station came by. He said, "Man, I just wanted to meet you, Robert." And we had a great conversation about our backgrounds. And I love meeting people that way. Well, not all that bad weather. I'd rather not have had that bad weather, but I love meeting people. I needed some help there. I'd come off the top of a wave and dropped about 10 feet, and I went through the bottom of my seat, my Millennium seat. Luckily, I had my
Wow.
throwable out there, and I threw it under me. I have suspension seat on it, so the suspension took part of the hit, but I actually went right through the fabric of my seat.
Wow.
And but so that was a tough night. I didn't think of it as that tough. I just thought of it as a blast. But probably the real toughest to me was I wasn't getting a lot of sleep. I tend to push myself real hard. The first night, I did that. Probably the thing, Dave, that stirred you to call me crazy was when I left Pensacola and I put it on the internet that I was going to do a straight crossing to Fort Myers. That's a little over 400 miles. People were thinking. I see them debating on when to cross to Steinhaus, and I can't remember the name of that little town.
Steinhatchee, yeah.
Steinhatchee, and they're worried about little weather windows to get across there in their boats. And they saw this guy in a 16-foot John boat going to do a 400-mile. I think a lot of people thought I was crazy. But the reality world is I'm not out there doing it during the transition of seasons like a lot of the great loopers are. They're doing it in the fall or the spring with the fronts coming through and stuff. The Gulf tends to get in doldrums in July. And there's
Right.
long periods off the west coast of Florida. I've sailed that many times in sailboats where it just is calm. And I had a really nice calm crossing all the way over. But that night I only got 2 hours sleep. So I got up and I wanted to be at the first lock, when it opened at 7. And then the next night, I didn't get a lot of sleep at Cape Canaveral just because of the fishermen and the security guards waking me up. And so then the story happens. I'm having to go inside because the Atlantic's all disturbed. I'm left out of Charleston. A lady gave me a sandwich, and I'm munching on that sandwich, running 35 miles an hour. And those guys that have traveled that area just north of Charleston know it's just a big old swampy area. There's no homes, no nothing. It's just beautiful. Birds are flying with you and stuff. And I was just loving this environment. And I fell asleep at 35 miles an hour. I hit the bank, and about 2 foot cut bank. The tide was out. And my boat must have flown like 30 feet in the air. The back of my boat ended up 60 feet from shore. And I was I woke up in the front of my boat looking back, and all I could see was a pathway through 6 foot tall reeds back to the water. That was pretty tough. That was real
I
tough.
bet. But we have one other question here, which comes at a fabulous time because it's just about time to wrap this up.
Okay.
But Glenn is asking, is there anywhere they can see a photo of you and your boat? I'm going to extend that question and say, how do people find you and follow you?
Okay, the best place to find me is on Facebook. You can just look up my name, Robert Ewens, on Facebook, or you can look up Ageless Wanderer as a term I use. It's the name of my boat, and it's a term I use to kind of describe myself. Also, I have a YouTube channel, Ageless Wanderer. I'm a horrible YouTuber. I am not into social media. I do it just to kind of share it with friends. And I try to do some more YouTube stuff, but the best place, I've lots of reels on Facebook of all my trips, and someday I'll be a good YouTuber, maybe.
I've been trying to be a good YouTuber for years, and it's not happening for me either. I get it.
I'm
I
out
get
there.
it.
You're on your way. Yeah.
I see Stinkpot out there having fun, and when you're having fun and visiting with people and stuff, it's you got to go reset cameras and make sure everything's charged and sit down and do the editing time and stuff. Man, I only got so much time left to live. I want to be living it and not sitting there editing and
I'm with you.
you know I don't know. I just like being on the water, and that's one thing I can encourage people to do, and I want them to understand about me is it doesn't matter which way I'm on the water. I just want to be on the water.
That's right. That's right. And I think that's an excellent place for us to end our
Okay.
monthly little chat here, our Argo Live number 17. I want to thank you, Robert, for joining us this month. We will have another special guest next month if all goes well. But on behalf of myself, Captain Jeff, and Nick Gaffney, I want to thank you all for joining us. And we will see you right back here next month on the 9th of April, the day before my birthday. I'm expecting lots of good presents from you guys. So
Yeah.
bring it on.
Sure.
At 7 p.m. Eastern. And once again, thanks, and we'll see you then. Bye,
Thank
all.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Bye-bye.